This alumni show is brought to you by Geico.
My approach has always been the same, is if I'm called upon to step inside those white lines, give my team the best opportunity to win the game. And I think as long as I approach it that way, things will happen like they're supposed to. And I'm thankful. I've been on the bench for a long time. So I'm excited as ever to go out there and compete, go out there and play. Yeah, I do think I can play.
Welcome to Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus. If you can hear around us, we at the Redskins Alumni Annual event. And we're doing our show right here, and when we come back, we'll be opening. But let me tell you who I got with me right now. G as usual, that's why it's cold up here, too cool. And Jeff Bostic, one of the original Hogs, and Donna. You up here for information, right?
I'm up here to tell you all what's going on.
I'm just saying, do your job tonight. We'll be back in a moment.
From Brother Jimmy's, go Redskins!
Once I started looking for car insurance, it was a no-brainer. I switched to Geico and saved hundreds. That's a win. But it's not the only reason I switched. The Geico app makes it easy to manage my policy. I can pay my bill, add a new driver, or even file a claim. Woo! Hey now, that's a win-win. Thank you.
Switch to Geico. It's a win-win.
Alex Smith, Redskins quarterback, out for the season. We're not concerned about next season. Our thoughts and prayers go with him for his health. Welcome back to Brothers Barbecue. We're having our event here tonight, and we start off with our first guest. And I tell you what, this gentleman, when I came in, he and I became friends. I remember he's one of the amazing Hogs. What he did is took me and another defensive tackle, Perry Brooks. They took us out to a restaurant place, a very nice steakhouse, and from then on, we've been friends. Jeff Bostic, hey, welcome to the show, man.
It's good to be here, Tony.
You know, this is a great time for us, and G, you know how it is. And Donna, you've been around long enough. The annual get-together is just so much fun, you know, when you see these guys. And what do you think about when we come to these things?
I'll never forget the first one because it had probably been 25 years since I'd seen a certain number of my teammates. And for all those that don't know at home, football guys like to get together and tell bull stories. So there's going to be a lot of minutia going on up there. But it's always great to get back, and see Gary Clark, Tony McGee, Joe Jacoby. We can go on and on and on.
You talking about minutia? I go up to Jay Bird, who was our equipment guy, and we're going to have him on later. And he remembered my black high top, but he can't say, yeah, he bought a kicking shoe with him. Man, when did I ever kick? When did I ever kick? But I always remember when you first came, and you were a little wide receiver. He wasn't talking much or anything. And I interviewed him, and I knew then that you were going to be a good player. So these things have been going on since you've been here. Do you embrace them? And last year they did a little different, and people didn't really like it. This year, I like it like this.
I love that. Anytime that you're able to bring the guys in that, quite honestly, help mold you into the person that you end up becoming, it's always brilliant. And the guys that we get here, I see Ricky Sanders, I see Bosco here, I saw Jake earlier, I saw Superman, I see all the guys who come back in, and it kind of takes you back to that time when Redskins was nothing but gold here in the Washington, D.C. community.
You know, Donna, if you heard us talking, and one thing that Jeff said, and he was the truth, he said, he heard that they were bragging about the Redskins being 6-3 and having good records and stuff. He said, if we weren't 6-3 back in that time, we'd have a problem.
Yeah, Tony, the thing about it is I was thinking about, wow, they were winning all the time. They were going to the playoffs all the time. They were going to the Super Bowl all the time. And when I first came in the 80s and everything, middle 80s.
Yeah, don't be telling me they're right here. They'll be bigger than our age. And I always say when I was 8 years old, I came in the 80s.
Yeah, but I mean, it was almost like Coach Gibbs and Bobby Mitchell and all of those guys and all of you all. And when I see you all now, I'm like, man, that's family back.
Now, I'm going to ask you guys, not pertaining to this team or any other team or teams around the league. Jeff, at your size, you played center. You went to the Pro Bowl in '83. You were one of the best in the game. What do you look at the centers now, and what do you think about them? Are they better athletes or bigger athletes? Are they as durable? Are they as smart as you? Because I know you centers have to be pretty smart. That's why I always wondered, how did you become a center?
They are probably a little bit bigger, but understand something. B-I-G doesn't spell B-A-D. You ain't got to be big to be bad.
Well, I asked you how smart you were. You got it right, because I tell you what.
There are two important things as a center, in my opinion. What you do with these, you got to put them on the chest plate, and what you do with your feet. And quickness.
Thank you.
You have to have quickness, because there's only two types of centers, the quick and the dead. So I was that first one. I was the quick one.
You were the quick one, you made sure. And let's look at the wide receivers. Do you feel that way about them? Because I always remember this little play you would get in, and you would turn and leave them in the dust. I don't see that anymore in the receivers, not just on the Redskins, but around the league.
Well, it's a little bit of a different game. It's more of a West Coast offense in terms of the passing games now. So everything is more like picks and cuts and slices and going 5 and 7 yards. We're more of a vertical offense than I played. Mm-hmm. So if it was 3rd and 15, we had to play that we could get 15 yards. I didn't have to go 10 yards and then figure out a way to make 5 after the catch, you know. So it's just a little bit different than when it was when we played, but that's like anything. The game evolves over time.
Yeah, but do you think it's evolved good? And Donna, you've seen it now. What Jerry said, I'm going to take him off the spot here. Let's know no names or nothing, but the posse, you knew who they were, and they distinguished themselves.
Yeah.
Do you see any potential posses on this team or any teams around the league?
Not yet, not on this team, because those guys, the posse, when they came on the field, all of them were going to make plays. And they were identified quickly as those guys that were playmakers. For the Redskins right now, it's no big playmakers on the team. Nobody has really stepped forward to say, I'm the man, I put the ball into my hand. They're still almost like guessing of what to do with the passing game. And those guys had a hunger for the game, and I don't see that passion in the passing game right now.
But do you think is that they don't want to or they can't right now?
I just think that it's a combination of a whole bunch of things that's going on right now. And the offenses, to me, back then was so simple. It was like, ABC, you know what we're going to do, but you stop us. And right now, they're trying to make it so much difficult now, instead of just making it simple and letting the guys go play.
Well, Donna, look at one thing. From 85 until 92 or 3, it was the Hogs, it was Art Monk, it was Gary Clark, it was Ricky Sanders. We'll trade in a running back. We'll trade in a quarterback.
Exactly.
Just drive the car, okay? And I'll never forget Joe Bugle coming and dragging Mark Rippon into our offensive line room. And tight ends watched the film with us because they were glorified tackles. And he asked Mark Rippon in like 1989, when you look around this room, what do you see? And Rip was like Opie Taylor. He said, I see my offensive line and my tight ends.
Well, you better tell them Opie, or they may not be old enough.
Opie Taylor, Andy Griffith show.
Okay.
I didn't know that show.
It's in black and white. It's old, but I am too.
It's good.
Anyway, Rip said, I see my offensive line and my tight ends. And Buke said, wrong answer. What you're looking at's a Cadillac. Drive it, don't wreck it.
Hello. And you know,
There's no
I like
pressure
that.
there, is it?
And you know the thing I don't see, now they were saying this, the line this year is Hogs #2 or whatever they say. I don't see that because I saw uniqueness in all of you guys. When the night that I first came, I said, man, he's the center. And then I saw Big Jake there. And I remember a game I was in, and I was against Big Jake, and he was a rookie. And he had cut me. And that's when y'all still had Daryl Grant as a guard as well.
Guard.
And I started to jump up at Jake, big as he was. And Mark May ran over, oh, don't hurt him, he's a rookie. I said, wait a minute.
Mayday was a rookie too.
Right, I know. But I look at these, and I don't see the diversity that I saw with you guys. You guys had something special.
Well, here was the thing. Grim, Jacoby, May,
Starkey.
me, we all hung out together.
I was just getting ready to say that.
We formed as much chemistry off the field as we did on. And the one thing we didn't want to do is let the guy down that played on each side of you.
Well, that's when I remember when they took me out, me and Perry, and then we used to go over to D-Boy's house and shoot pool on Friday, and I think that made our team really close. Did you guys do stuff like that, G?
Yeah, well, me and Ricky did. Art, not so much, but inside those things. But it is a good, because Art's already established. She's already been there 5 years, 6 years before we got there too. So when me and Ricky came in, you know, you're leaving the fun bunch, and now the posse is being created without us even knowing it at some point in time. You know, and me and Ricky bonded, and of course Art was our teacher, so it made for a great triple threat at the end of the day.
Now I ask you guys a question. Was that as important as I think it was for the team to be together like that?
I'm going to tell you what, this is probably over dramatic. NFL games are as close as you're going to get to going to war without putting a backpack on and a rifle, because somebody's looking to stick it in your ear. And you want the guy beside you to have prepared, done everything he can to get ready for the game, know his assignments. I'm not going to mess you up, and you're not going to mess me up, and that's the kind of bond we had.
I saw that, Tony, too, back then, and it's starting to develop a little bit now, but not as much as it did back then.
Well, we down there. Where are we tonight, Donna? You told me?
It is Jimmy's Barbecue.
Brother Jimmy.
Brother Jimmy.
We are at see, I give her one thing to do and she do it wrong. Brother Jimmy's Barbecue hosting us tonight, having a good time. We'll be back in a moment.
You okay there, Kurt?
We're about to move.
Karate helps relieve some of the house buying stress.
At least you don't have to worry about homeowners insurance. Call Geico.
Geico? Helps with homeowners insurance?
Been doing it for years.
I'm calling Geico right now.
Good idea.
Get to know Geico and see how easy homeowners and renters insurance can be.
Tony, I am with the incomparable Larry Michael, voice of the Washington Redskins. A young man, believe it or not, who may have been born in Chicago, but grew up in Silver Spring, Maryland, and is a homebred announcer and talent. Is that true?
100% true. Born in Chicago, my parents moved to Washington, D.C. when I was 2, and I'm much older than that now. And I've never left the area. I've never left the area.
But so Silver Spring, Maryland.
Silver Spring, Maryland, yeah. First to D.C., but then they moved a year later to Silver Spring, a place called Four Corners, which is right there at Colesville and University Boulevard.
You are a rarity in that you've spent most of your life in the Washington area.
I'm a local,
Only like 14–15% of people ever come here and stay the whole time.
Well, I don't know. You know, I got a lot of friends that are still around here, so I would challenge the data. I would say there's probably more than 15% of the people. I think more than 15% of the people I know are from here. But I know what you're saying, Mike, and yeah. So I had a chance to leave the area a couple times, and thank goodness I didn't. And of course, we got a game after game. Every game's exciting. Got a big game coming up here on Sunday.
Yeah. Now you're a Maryland Terp, and
Terp,
you cut
yep.
your teeth on announcing college basketball games. Is that correct?
Did you do the research? Huh?
I did. I did.
You did some research.
And you worked for the local radio station.
Well, I mean,
Mutual Radio, right?
That was a national network.
Yeah.
So the way the timeline is, I went to college, I went to Maryland. I couldn't get in a whole lot of the places. I got a couple other places, but Maryland was certainly the best economic choice. So at the time, and for my grades too. So I was going there as a law enforcement major, and a buddy of mine, Howard, told me they needed help at the campus radio station, WMUC. I went up there, volunteered, and they said, need help in the sports department. I went to the sports department. And then it would seem very quickly I was at Cole Fieldhouse, part of the group doing the play-by-play for the Terps. And back then, obviously, Cole Fieldhouse was the cathedral for us. So I also got a part-time job at Mutual Radio, which was a national radio network. It was right there with NBC. You got to go back in your history books to figure out what Mutual Radio is, but it was really big, and I got a job there part-time at 16th Street, just 2 blocks from the White House. And they subsequently moved to Virginia, and I moved with them. I got hired full-time, and a whole bunch of other stuff happened, and here we are.
When you were a young man growing up, did you see yourself in radio, or was there somebody that maybe heard your voice and said, you know, Larry, you have a nice voice, you should try radio?
Well, I do have a tape of myself in 2nd grade reading a book, and I still have that tape.
Do you
I don't
really?
think I do, but the voice wouldn't be something you're looking for back then. But actually, no. The answer is no. Never would have thought it. My father was in the restaurant business. That seemed to be maybe a way I was going, but then my brother ended up being a dentist, and I was thinking when I went to college, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I would say that when I went to Maryland, I really found what I wanted to do with my life, and that is, and that was just a happenstance occasion to go to the campus radio station. But it was that's the way life is, you know. And subsequent to that, a lot of things have happened to me. Both in business and out of business, that have proven that to be the case, that you never know what's around the corner.
Yeah, as a young man growing up, what's your earliest recognition of a Redskin game or a Redskin player, something that you remember?
I've got a couple things. And my dad used to take me and my brother downtown, and we'd go to the baseball games.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, it was the Senators, and he would drop us off and say, I'll be back in 3 hours and pick you up, and no worries, we would go. And I remember watching the Yankees, and we had seats. My uncle got us seats behind the third base dugout, and Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris. Whitey Ford was pitching that night, and I remember that vividly. Now, as far as football goes, I think the first thing that really, not the first thing, but one thing that really sticks with me was Kenny Houston stopping Walt Garrison on the 1-yard line. I wasn't there. I was watching that on television in Four Corners. Me and my brother shared a room, and we had a small little TV in our room. It was black and white. We watched that game, and I couldn't sleep all night because of the thrill I had from watching that game.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if you grew up in this town, you know what the Redskins mean.
So now, I don't want to date you too much, but I was actually at the game when Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris played the year they had the race to 60.
Oh.
And of course, Mantle had the hamstring injury, and he had to drop out of the race. Essentially, Maris went ahead and he captured the title at 61.
Listen,
was
Mike,
that the year that you were there?
No,
okay.
Because you are older than me, Mike. You're the one person who's older than me. But I will say this about this guy, okay, and this is, you know, true story. Back in those days, we had Channel 5, Channel 7, Channel 4, and Channel 9, and we had UHF, and UHF was Channel 20. I don't even think Channel 50 was there. Channel 56 and 54 and those, nobody ever heard of those, nobody watched those until you really put those stations on the map back then with the basketball coverage, which, if you're a sports fan, just imagine going back in that era and there was no ESPN, you didn't have wall-to-wall coverage, and you were just dying to see a basketball game. And you guys would have the college basketball games on public TV, and it was the best thing going back then. It really was. So thank you for asking me to come on this show.
Well, thank you very much. You realize that's where I met Tony McGee.
Really?
I got a call from Howard University. There was this young player with the Washington Redskins. He was getting ready to retire, wanted to know if there was some place that perhaps he could work at the station. I said, come on out, we're doing some basketball. I threw Tony McGee on the air with Bob Rodwell, and of course I gave them a Redskin show. They took it out on the road, and here we are 34 years later.
It's amazing how, like I told you, you don't know what's around the corner, do you? You never know.
So,
you never know.
So, you know, you do such a phenomenal job with broadcasting the Washington Redskins.
I appreciate that.
Since 2004, as I recall.
Yeah.
And an amazing job. Everybody loves you, loves the organization, and loves the crew. Where do you see this team going this year? Do you have, without, you know, looking in the crystal ball too much, what do you think?
Well, obviously, they're a playoff contender. If for no other fact, they're leading the division by 2 games. I don't know what people need to see to understand the facts. The facts are they're 2 games ahead in first place. And yeah, anything can happen. It's pro football. Anything can happen. But you know what's happened. You've seen what's happened. And I don't think there's going to be a ton of surprises. You know, Gary Clark and Ricky Sanders aren't going to show up and become part of the team. You know who you got. You know what's going on. So you have to take a look at what's going, you know, and as the players look at it game by game, we can look ahead a little bit. You know, the game this week is big. The game on Thanksgiving Day is big. And the fact that you have Philadelphia 2 more times, so the results of the season are yet to be determined. But right now, you're up by 2. You have to feel good, and I think you haven't seen the best of this offense yet. I think Alex Smith will improve, and the defense has proven to be the strongest unit. So it's a little bit different. I think this is definitely not what people were expecting. I don't think people were expecting the defense to be this powerful up front with these 3 guys on the defensive line. They are outstanding. They've got all the sacks. I mean, Ryan and Preston do a great job too, but these guys have made a big impact. Allen, Ioannidis, and Payne. Then, of course, you've got Settle there. You got a couple other guys. I don't want to forget anybody else. Caleb Brantley's there. You got a couple guys.
Hamilton's doing well.
You've got plenty of guys. You got plenty of guys in there. So, and the fact that you brought in Clinton Dix to help the secondary, I think it's a total defense. This is the best defense the Redskins have had in many years.
I think we're going to look back on this, and I have to let you go because you have your festivities, but I think we're going to look back on this season and the last 2 seasons as a era where we turned a page, where we built from the bottom up, where we built through the draft, and essentially we drafted well, and we built the core of a winning team for years to come.
Yeah, ironic, Mike, that you and I get to do this here for Alumni Week, and we're talking about a time here where maybe we're turning the page, and you have all these different chapters in Redskins history here tonight. And if you look back, of course, you know, the 60s, Vince Lombardi came in the 60s, right? He didn't have a very long run, but he became a winner. And then on the heels of him came George Allen, where the future is now breeded a championship team. And then you got to go to when Joe Gibbs came in to really hear the glory days, see the glory days of the team. So each decade becomes another chapter. And you might think back, 2012 wasn't that long ago.
No.
Redskins won the NFC East. You remember that season very well.
Yes.
I remember it very, very well. So you can never predict what's going to happen. Here and now, this team leads the division, and we ought to be happy with that.
Well, given our defense and the fact that we have such a young, vibrant coach, we may be turning
You think Jay Gruden is vibrant?
I think he's vibrant.
Vibrant. Wow.
I
hope Jay watches this show.
I watch him. I watch him with the players,
then,
and he has a vibrant approach to these guys.
I'm going to call him Mr. Vibrant.
Yes,
from
he
now
endeavors to befriend them, and at the same time, he makes his pointed remarks.
He's the best, man.
He is. He's a great guy.
He's the best. He's the best. And from now on, he'll forever be vibrant.
He'll be vibrant.
He'll be vibrant. Vibrant Jay.
All right. Larry,
thanks, man.
Larry Michael, the best of the best. Thank you. God bless, and thanks
Mike.
for being with us.
Thanks, Mike. Thank
All right,
you.
back to you, Tony.
I'm at the swing joint telling people that Geico's been offering savings for over 75 years. That's longer than the buffalo wing's been around.
Dozen wings.
And did you know that Geico offers motorcycle insurance? Oh, my lips are burning. No, my lips are actually burning.
Geico. Over 75 years of savings and service. See how much you could save at geico.com.
It's too hot. Oh, this is too hot, mate.
Welcome back to Brother Jimmy's Barbecue. I'm being bothered by a producer named Mike Baker, but we'll keep doing the show anyway. When I was talking about the hogs the last time we was on the show, we messed around and got the biggest hog of all on there. Guy's 6'8". At that time, he weighed about 280, 290. He looks good now, but you'll never forget him because I remember the day he made Dallas quit. I'm talking about Joe Jacoby. Welcome to the show, Big J. Yeah. Man, why they put you by me to make me look real little, man?
That makes you look thinner.
What do you mean? Jake, we were just talking about it, and being here and with the alumni and everything, it's so nice, man. And you know what? The one thing that I do feel like y'all, we talk that football brother stuff, but I think our teams, and even with your G, when you wasn't with us, we were really brothers, and I think that's why we were successful.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Jeff and I have been very fortunate that we had a crossover between all the different guys in Coach Gibbs' first 12 years, that first stint. And, you know, I look back on it, man, there are some great guys that we played with. I mean, and it is a brotherhood. And, you know, coaching-wise, I tell these kids when I go out and talk to them, I said, these guys look next to you. These guys you're going to spend the next whatever amount of years with, going through high school and stuff like that. They're going to be more of a brother to you than your actual brother.
You're right.
And there'll be things in friendships that you're going to relive on. I said, enjoy these moments, these special bonds you got. And we have special bonds. I mean, different things.
Really do.
Just not the victories, but the things that we did together as a team and off the field and on the field.
Well, tell me about who talked the most stuff among all of the hogs.
Wait a minute, between the two of us here, Jeff went between us two. But the king of kings on that is Mark May.
Mayday! It's not even close. But Mayday was a selective talker. He never talked junk to the guy he was playing. He would get everybody else mad.
And Mark would come back in the huddle. He goes, "Hey, I'm helping you." I'm getting him out of his game.
You know what? But you know, when you look back at those years and you look at the players now, and I try to get comparisons. So we go to the youngest guy up here. When you came in, you had the ability to mesh, but you had guys like this to work with. And
I mean, I was blessed when I came in. There was already a championship team there, already Super Bowl champions. Guys were already winning Super Bowls. They was coming to the playoffs every year, but they also were great teachers. They was going to make you fall in line. Like we were locker mates. My rookie year, I had to fall in line.
We had a game in St. Louis that Gary will probably remember. We didn't particularly play very well for 30 minutes, and Gary was very emotional if he wasn't getting the ball enough. So he was going nuts at halftime. Give me the ball! Coach Gibbs comes out and said, pipe it down. And that threw gasoline on the fire. So I grabbed Gary and stuffed him in a locker. I said, shut up, do your job, we got 30 more minutes, it's over. First play of the second half, Gary caught a hitch. Guy hit him, he fumbled the ball. Oh my God. You're talking about a guy catching it coming off the field.
You needed to put him back in the locker.
Hey, but he put up late. He scored the winning touchdown.
Well, you know, that's what you need. You need that kind of fire. And I don't see that in a lot of guys. It's not like I
But also being able to talk that way to one another and no bad blood being
Exactly.
We're just trying to win. They're just trying to make sure that we win. Put me in my place when I need to be put in my place, and vice versa. That's a great thing. Nowadays, if Mark I mean, if Bosco would have did that to me, nowadays, somebody would have might have tried to. There would have been a beef fight. At that point in time, I'm listening to a leader on the team. I'm a second-year guy at that point in time. Well, maybe not my rookie year at that time, quite honestly. So I'm listening to the leaders on the team and what they have to say.
And you made him be quiet. That's
is that a lot I could do? He had his hand on my throat. Is that a lot I could say?
I had his head pushed up against the back of the locker.
That's got to be the only way.
The funny part about it, nobody heard him because Jeff had him down.
He didn't let the sound get out.
Had a cover for Jeff.
Yeah, Jacoby and Grimm were just sitting there like.
Oh, they didn't know what was going on. Well, you know what, Donnie, you had the opportunity, and you was only about 6 or 7 years old, to interview all of these guys in the different eras. Yeah. What did you see? Tell me what you saw, the difference in the teams now and the teams that you interviewed.
Well, right now I feel well protected up here.
That's where the quarterbacks felt.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't have to worry about nobody sacking because you all set the record back there. I remember Gary coming in with penny loafers on, white socks. He became the G-man after that. These two guys, you know, all you heard about their names and what the offensive line did. But I have a question for you, Tony. Now, across the lines, you two, who wins the battle?
Wait a minute, I'm glad you brought that up. This is the first time for all of you people that's out there. I had 106 sacks. It was a guy at the end of my career, every day he had heard it, he said, come on, Tony, let's go. It was him. He was coming over to the other side for me to pass rush again. I was hurt every day. We never did it on purpose. True story. You remember Jake, you know, come on, Tony, come on. Because, you know, George was, you know, me and him had a routine.
You know, you look back on that, from my perspective, if I was going to be anything, if I was going to be the best at my position, I need to see guys who have played in the league, have done it, and your career and what you've done. I need to see all those moves before I got in the game.
I think you wanted to embarrass me.
Hey, Tony.
Well, that's the other reason.
Tony, he gave you a break, though. It could have been a run block.
I would have been in a little bit of trouble there. That quickness wouldn't work.
Hey, that snowplow would have picked you up and dumped you in the curb.
I saw him do that to Harvey. And I always remember, the picture I remember of Harvey was the time when his back, he was sitting on the ground, you were behind him and his back was facing out in the field. You had to turn him all the way around. I knew that's when they were through, man. I'll tell you, man.
Y'all want to go at it now? Y'all want to go at it now?
It'd take too long for us to get off these chairs.
I can get the money out of my pocket.
Lord, don't let neither one of us fall.
Help, I fall and I can't.
Who's going to help me get this? You know. But when I look back at this, guys, and those are very good years, and then when you look at a team that's excited about having winning records now, and you said that before, we expected to win.
Oh, yeah.
We expected to win. We didn't never go out to the game.
Jeff and I, and you were part of that too when we started 0-5, and I'm thinking, my gosh, am I back in college? I mean, this is what I went through in college, and then all of a sudden it just...
You know when it changed?
A lot of that was Joe Gibbs. He came in with that Air Coryell mentality in '81. We're throwing it all over the field. We're throwing it 50, 55 times a game. We're second in the league in offense. We were first in turnovers. And then he kind of looked at his people on offense and goes, I got a young line. Maybe we'd be do a lot better focusing on rushing the ball. And then they kind of integrated Riggins, who had just come back from a sabbatical.
I think that's why the offensive linemen in the league today are not good as you guys. Because like you said, Joe Gibbs saw that. A young line, let's run the ball. I would like to see them. And now, as a passing league, they don't get a chance to do that.
No, and they've taken that away from the young guys. From my perspective, when I see since this new CBA, these guys only hit.
Thank you. 6
times, I think, when the season starts for the rest of the year. And for a lineman, you need to have that.
You got to be callous.
Well, yeah, you got to be callous, but you also got to be the physicalness part of it, working those combinations, and so you're mentally prepared. These guys now just not getting into a groove, and they're 10 weeks, 11 weeks into the season.
This is football 501. The next time you watch an NFL game, watch the offensive line. Their splits are about this big. This is nothing.
Right.
I used to tell the guards, get away from me, put my guy on an island. And they wanted to get their guy on an island. We'd have splits this big. I used to look out to Jake and I thought he was in a different zip code.
I mean, 8 yards away from
hey, Tony, you know this. Defenses line up on you.
Exactly.
How are you going to pile all these bodies inside and try and run in there?
You get in the way. And you know the thing about it is, y'all said that, now when I look at game, I look at defensive linemen, when you see their feet stop on a pass rush, you guys know I'm dead there. Every one of them, they jump up, stop their feet, all around the league. Is that coaching? Is that coaching, G?
I think a combination of both, because I think initially my coaches there at that level just to kind of guide me, to give me the strategy, to let me know, because Jake has been playing lineman. Boston, they've been playing lineman their whole life. They already know more than what typically their coach is teaching them in terms of playing football. But the strategy that goes along with the game is what I like to hear from the coach. When Coach Gibb gave us a game plan, here's our game plan, guys. You guys are the football guys, now tweak it. Make it football ready, and that's what Joe allowed us to do, is to make his game plan football ready.
Well, we're going to have to take a break now, and this is the closest I've been to Joe Jacoby since he tried to get me to pass rush against him. I would have killed him. We'll be back in a moment.
Geico makes it so easy to manage my policy. With an app that lets me pay my bill, add a vehicle, or even file a claim, it's not just easy. It's aerobics in a recliner easy.
And plank. Move it. Shimmy. And step, step, swivel. Keep it going. Kick, hold. Kick it out, and kick, and kick.
It's not just easy, it's Geico easy.
Feel the bird.
Welcome back to the show. And old as I am, being back about these guys make me want to feel like I'm in the locker room again. That's why, hey guys, well, coming out of the shower.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you guys though. Super Bowls. Now, how many were you? Each one of you. Tell me, G.
I played in 2.
4.
I went to 2.
And you guys won 3 of the 4.
3 of the 4.
And you won both of yours.
I'm perfect.
Nice.
Can we get a shot of these rings?
We need some more of this hardware in D.C.
Yes.
And you know, I had the pleasure of going to 2 Super Bowls with you, and I want to ask you guys this. Our 1983 team, and you're not in this one, was that one of the best teams we ever had, and we went out there and stuck it up?
Yeah. I mean, lose 2 games, 1 point per game.
Exactly.
And the turnover ratio, our defense, the way they played, and you know, we get there to get back and get play again for another Super Bowl and lay that egg. I mean,
and we had just beat them in Oakland in overtime 4 weeks
now we beat them at home.
Yeah, at home. And the thing that we had 3 guys on that team that had over 10 sacks. So the defense was playing well. The offense was the #1 offense in the league. And people have said to this day, and I'm going to ask you guys, were we too relaxed when we went back out there? I mean, when we went to the first Super Bowl, we were tense, we were ready.
You know what? I have seen this a couple times in football. You do all the preparation, you go to crank the car, it doesn't start. Why would you lay an egg on the biggest stage of football? You don't plan on that, but we did.
And you know what? You never forget it, dude.
No.
I've never forgotten it. I don't even wear that ring. I would not wear it. People ask us, why are we going to wear it? That meant we were number 2. And people say, oh, well, you got there. It's not just good to get there.
If that team had won the Super Bowl, it would have been thought of as one of the top 2 or 3 teams in football history.
Exactly.
Along with 91.
I knew we were going. I was about to say.
Which was the best in NFL history.
I was on both of them, as was Joe. The 91 team's the best I've ever seen.
I know you guys. I mean, just tell me. We got about 3 or 4 minutes. Tell me, you 3 of you guys on that team. Tell me what was unique to each of you about that team.
I mean, the swagger going into the game was we could play average and still beat you. And that's the key. Like today's Redskins right now, if they play average, they lose. They play great, they win. We could play average and still kick your ass. That's a little bit of the difference between that and that 91
Wait
team.
a minute. Bleep. Okay, go ahead.
We could run the ball. And we could protect our passer. Rip got sacked, I think, 8 times in 19 games. We could throw it. We had a few receivers. Some guy named Monk and Sanders and some other guy named Clark.
The good-looking one.
Yeah, the good-looking one. Hey, defensively, you had guys that could pressure the quarterback.
Right.
You had Hall of Fame.
You had everything.
Turnover takeaway ratio was sick.
That's the key.
And the only person that worked very little that year was Kelly Goodburn, our punter.
Y'all kept him off the field.
We kept him fresh. We probably extended his career about another 5 years.
Echoing Jeff, Jeff and I have been very fortunate. We played on both those teams. 91, like Gary said, and I think that team, we didn't have, remember Saturday night? We didn't have coaches meeting. It was players meeting.
I like
and
that.
We laid it on the line, and everybody spoke their mind. Whoever sat in that room stayed in the room. We went out and played on Sunday, and that was it. And everybody knew their role. And nobody bitched or complained. There's another one. Beep.
Okay. But you know what? I see that, and that's the quality I do not see around the league now. It seems as though the league is keeping players apart. You don't have that togetherness. You have players come in just like the receiver, and I won't say his name, in New York. How do you throw the person that's got to throw you the ball under the bus and say he's holding back your team? This is the way these young players look now. And have you guys seen this as a gradual change, or is this something was going on after I left?
Well, Joe Gibbs used to say this: don't talk bad about an opponent, don't talk bad about a teammate.
Yeah.
That was not a negotiable thing for Joe Gibbs. If you disparaged somebody you're getting ready to play or one of your teammates, you weren't going to like Coach Gibbs for a while.
Well, I tell you what, we had to take another break now. We thank you guys for being up here. Next week, I want to see you strapped up because I'm going to have my black hat top.
I'd like to see you and Joe in this one-on-one battle
I'd like to see
once
that
and
too.
for all, right here, in the square circle. We'll get this on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Where's the square circle? I didn't know they make circles.
Wait, I couldn't even wipe my
I didn't know they make circles in a square.
Wait, yeah, I was trying to. We'll be back.
Once I started looking for car insurance, it was a no-brainer. I switched to Geico and saved hundreds. That's a win. But it's not the only reason I switched. The Geico app makes it easy to manage my policy. I can pay my bill, add a new driver, or even file a claim. Woo! Hey now, that's a win-win. Thank you.
Switch to Geico. It's a win-win.
Hey sports fans, 2-time Super Bowl champion Gary Clark and Pacific Dental Services have joined up to bring Redskin fans a chance to win free NFL Legend experiences. Go to www.garyclarkinc.com/fans to register for a chance to win. Good luck.
Welcome to the Sports Bar Challenge. In this week's game, we have the Green Bay Packers traveling to Minnesota to play the Vikings on Sunday Night Football. Crystal City Restaurant likes the Vikings. Crystal City Sports Pub likes the Vikings. Greavy's likes the Vikings. Hard Times Cafe of Fairfax likes the Vikings. Harry's Ale House in Fredericksburg likes the Vikings, and Nando's Peri Peri Chicken likes the Vikings. Look for this to be a high-scoring game between two very potent offenses, but Minnesota's defense is elite. Pick the Vikings at home.
This week on What's Bugging Our NFL Fans, we have Tona out of Waldorf, Maryland. She's going to let us know specifically what's bugging her.
Hey, it's Tona from Brother Jimmy's, and what's bugging me this week is all the roughing the passer calls in the NFL, and that's what's bugging me.
It is through our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light again. I would love for you to pick up my book, Getting to the Other Side of Victory. If not for yourself, a loved one, or a friend, pick it up for someone that's going through a tough time. You can purchase it on both Amazon and Barnes & Noble in both paperback or ebook. For my autographed copy, go to my website at www.donnajhopkins.com and help someone get to the other side of victory.
Hey, this is Jay Rhodes from Catawba, Virginia. I've been watching Redskin Mag Plus, Redskin Magazine, whatever the name is. I've watched Tony McGee for the better part of 30 years. Him and Doc Walker, Gary Clark, Donna. Thank y'all for making the Redskins' lives enjoyable in the good times and the bad. Hail to the Redskins.
So what are you doing these days, and where are you located?
I'm located in Belleville, Illinois. It's just east of St. Louis. It goes St. Louis, Belleville, Scott Air Force Base. And we're doing some rehabs and some other a little bit of investments to try to keep occupied.
Well, your playing days, everybody knew you, and as Tony always said, it was hard going up against you.
Well, yeah, I came to play. Well, if I was in the hospital and went from 315 to 285 in a 1 week, told him to pull the stuff out, and came and sacked the quarterback, got him out of field goal range, got a game ball, and went back to the hospital and received another 8 quarts of fluid. So,
what made your team so great over the years?
I think we played as a unit. We sacrificed ourselves for other people. I know for myself, if I couldn't get to the running back, I took out the guard or whoever was pulling, and I think that happened all through the defensive line, offensive line. Offensive line was a hell of a unit. They stayed together. They played very hard. They hung out together. When you get that kind of camaraderie and that kind of gift for being next to the next person, you know exactly what they're going to do. I mean, you just know it.
Welcome back, Brother Jimmy's Barbecue, where the barbecue is great. And I'm having a great time here. We got a couple more players on. We got Reggie Branch, one of the best special team players and running backs ever to play in the league, not just on this team. And we got Daryl Grant. He played offensive guard. He played center and one of the best defensive tackles. And he kept Dexter Manley quiet. That was the biggest job of all. Number 77. Welcome to the show, guys. I remember we'd be out there.
I had him right in my claws in my last concert.
He said, come on over here, come on over here. I'm going to ask you guys real quick.
Until you make some tackles, shut up.
Right. Remember when they, San Francisco, didn't they put a bounty out on Dexter to get him and Francis and all that? Tell us a little bit about that.
I'll tell you, you started off, though.
You want me to start it off?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, basically, you know how Coach Gibbs never give them anything to put on their locker, anything to put on their bulletin board. Well, Mr. D's Mr. D, and Mr. D is going to say what Mr. D has to say. So he said a couple of things about the linemen in San Francisco. So they decided that, you know what, we're going to make Dexter Manley pay for what he said. So I'll let World take it from there, because at the end of the day.
Right. Well, they started running a crack play on him where the tight end, and you know if the tight end is at least 3 to 4 feet outside of the tackle, you know to expect a crack block from the tight end. Dex got a one-track mind, man. He's thinking about that quarterback, and that's all that's on his mind. He ain't paying attention. As far as his vision, that tight end is out of the play. They come down and hit him, boom, and I hear this noise escaping out his lungs.
Russ Francis, I remember who did it.
Hit him. A couple plays later, I'm going, what is going on? He said, well, that tight end hit me like that. He goes to Rich and like, Rich, you didn't tell me that the tight end was going to crack on me. Rich said Dex, who was in the game plan, if the tight end was further than 3 feet out, it was likelihood you were going to get cracked on. He said, well, that just ain't right. Y'all set me up.
I got to get my sweat rag there. Hey, Mike, can I get my sweat rag there? You know what? It's hot up here because I got some really great players. And we talked about Dexter, but let's get back to you.
All right.
Hey, if you guys look at it, show them the guns, man. Let them see the guns.
Oh, yeah! When you get them some
Now, he's still looking good. And you tell you what, one thing I do remember about you, you played offense and defensive line. I know you probably like defense better, but tell me a little bit about the difference and the nuances that you had to change.
Well, it was more wide open. I didn't have as much restriction, playing defense. Obviously, I had to follow the game plan and the plays. But offense was a little more controlled. I had played it a lot more as far as my career coming up through high school and college and so forth. But, I adapted and I played all those positions in high school. In college, I played every single position. Each year, I filled the void where we had a player deficiency. And each year, whoever the best guy was on the other side of the ball, I had to line up, be it offense or defense. It was my job to play that guy that game in the Southwest Conference, which was a monster conference at the time. So if it was Billy Ray Smith from Arkansas, or Lyman White from LSU, whoever it was on the other side, if I was starting on defense or offense, I had to line up on that guy in that game, no matter what.
Now, y'all don't know this, but World B was one of the best break dancers. I remember he used to be sitting on his head. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you still got it. Tell me about special teams now and special teams when you played.
You know what I got
around the league, not this, around the league, what do you see the difference?
The difference that I see, though, I got to be honest with you, though. It's a situation, though, I don't see the guys hustling to try to make the tackle. Now what you got going on, though, is like they're kicking the ball and they done moved it up and kicking the ball out of bounds because they don't want to have no more of that hitting or in that manner as the way we used to do it or as I used to do it. I was the kill man. Kill man is like you the number one guy going mess up the wedge or hit the wedge and let everybody get to the ball carrier. So the thing about it, though, when I look at it today, they trying to take it out of the game, though.
We say it each and every week on the show. And Donna, we say that it takes 3 facets of a team to win. And I agree. They was equally, and that's the one thing about Joe Gibbs. He made all of us feel like we were important. Everybody on the team had something to bring to the game.
Yeah, Tony, the thing about special teams when you look at it now for the team, they don't have that great return man as they had like Mike Mims, Brian Mitchell, and all of those guys that set up everything on special teams. Like he said, the kill man. And they don't have that now, that hunger anymore. And that's how most teams, you even made the team on special teams, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I first came in, they brought me in to be a punt returner. They brought me in to challenge Mike Nams for his punt return position. Mike Nams was a much better punt returner than I was. but I found my role at receiver, so I did have to return punts a couple of times, you know, but then I did a good return and they put me back there again. I was like, oh no.
I don't want to do that.
I was like, oh no.
Neil's still mad at me because I was his wedge captain. And if they kicked the ball down to me, I was bringing it back. I get 30 on him real quick. They start kicking it to me.
I agree.
Neil get mad at me. How you do that? I said, because I could. Gibbs never told me not to touch the ball. And I saw him so many times tell cats, do not touch the ball if they kick it in the wedge. He never told me that because he knew I had them hands.
You were really valuable.
I had them hand skills.
But you know what? You had a lot of skills, and I'm gonna bring something out on this show. I got a CD in my collection. Summertime. What was it?
Summertime chilling.
Man, it is still cold-blooded. I tell you what. Do you still have any of those? Mine got broke the other day. That's why I'm doing it.
House somewhere, I'm sure.
All of you fans, I tell you what. On one of my shows, I'm gonna bring that CD on. I want you to hear my man here. But now, let's tell me what you think. Not for no specific game, but what do we need to see from this team going forward for the playoff if they're going to the playoffs?
I tell you what, though, we got to be consistent, though, with offense and defense and special teams and all of that. Because if you're not as consistent with all of that going into the playoff, I guarantee you, though, you'll get beat, and you'll be on the wayside as not playing for that next playoff game. My main thing, though, is this here, though, it's like the offense got to come through the way they're supposed to, as defense got to do what they got to do. But offense got to make them plays. They got to make sure, though, as I just got to say, though, as a quarterback got to do what he got to do. I always say take control of the offense.
Okay, what
because
do you
I know all about, as that person, though, as who I played with, though, from Joe Theismann to Doug Williams to Jay Strader, just, you know,
right.
All of them guys, they took control of the situation when we was getting ready to go into that type of atmosphere, though. So he got to take control of it.
World, what do you think?
Well, I think the defensive front has to continue to hustle hard, play hard, and play physical. The DB's going to have to step their game up a little bit. And the offense is definitely going to have to put more points on the game early in the game and not make as many mistakes. They're doing a good job as far as turnovers and holding on to the ball, but they got to get more fire. I know they have some injuries right now, which may hurt the team, but the next man up got to be the next man to step up. And the offense has to put some points to help the defense out.
But
they got to get it.
Every one of us been up here, including you. We've had big people go down at key time, and that's the one thing about those teams. They always had someone to step in and do the job.
Right.
Because you know what? Everybody get paid on the same day, so you need to be playing.
That's an opportunity to get in there and show what you can do. Don't just sit around on the bench, you know, thinking you ain't gonna get in the game. You never know when you're gonna get in there. When you get in there, that may be the last time you get in there.
Right. I always thought this, though. I said when I got the opportunity, it's like John Riggins go down. They asked me to go in there. I got to do what I got to do.
Hello.
And then I want to have that understanding, though, John. It's me and you now. They're gonna say which one we're gonna decide. Just like George Rogers, just like Kevin Pine, just like Gerald Reed, just like all the guys. I said, if you go down, you give me that opportunity. They only gave me one time, and I scored one touchdown.
Right. Well, now you heard it here, Reggie Brett. He said, if he go down, I go in.
That's the name of the game, man.
That's our Del
You open that door, I'm gonna take it, baby.
And that's what they did.
I ain't gonna let it go.
This is why you had Super Bowl teams, and this is the kind of people you meet. Now we're gonna shut this show down here at Brother Jimmy's Barbecue, but we have some more. You'll see some more episodes in the coming season, but we thank you for watching. And as I said, we're not going to say goodbye, we'll say in the minute.
Tony, good news. The Redskin Magazine Inc. Minority Scholarship Contest is back again this year. And we're encouraging all seniors to submit essays on the subject. Do you think the Voting Rights Act of 1965 impacts your rights today? why or why not. And you can submit your essays to redmagplus.com. Once on the website, you go to Use Sideline. That gives you all the instructions on the essay, how to submit it, and all we can say is they're great prizes, so best of luck to all the writers out there.